Dr. Ali, can you hear me? अस्सलाम वालेकुम डॉक्टर अली।
जी जी, अस्सलाम वालेकुम।
अस्सलाम वालेकुम सर आप हमें एआई के सेशन में भी ज्वाइन करें, एज यू आर वर्किंग ऑन एआई एज वेल, तो हम उसमें भी आपके व्यूज चाहेंगे। तो आपको मैं पैनल में ही रख रही हूँ, तो आप हमें एआई के सेशन में भी ज्वाइन करें।
बिल्कुल ठीक है, आई एम अवेलेबल ओवर हियर। ठीक है, तो आप कंटिन्यू करें अपना।
सो नाइस ऑफ यू।
थैंक यू।
कंट्रोल प्रोमो वीडियो चला दें।
हाँ
सर, कंट्रोल प्रोमो वीडियो चलानी है। कंट्रोल प्लीज प्ले द प्रोमो वीडियो। Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I'm audible to all of you. Control, please confirm.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. I'm Rabia Kanwal. I am the CEO of Artificial Intelligence Center, Pakistan. This session is sponsored by Copier Center of International Relation and in the collaboration of AI Center and Center of AI Pakistan. So firstly, and the topic we will discuss today in our session, niche technologies, a threat to human security. Firstly, I would like to invite Ms. Amna Malik, who sponsored this session, for the opening remarks. She is the president of Copier. Ms. Amna, please start your talk.
Thank you very much, all the honorable speakers, and we are missing our co-host Ammar Jaffri sir. Basically, this is one of the webinar of the series of the webinar of Silk and Road Initiative and the Silk and Road International Summit. And we congratulate the entire team for arranging such a nice series of activities, and my best wishes for them. First, I would like to tell you about Center of Pakistan and International Relations. Center of Pakistan and International Relations is a strategic think tank which is working on policy advocacy for the government, and would like to contribute and develop a very strong narrative of Pakistan, not only at the national level, but also at the international level. Today, this topic is something which is very important. When we talk about human security is a threat to national security. And today our topic is that how the niche technologies and how the emerging technologies are, affecting and a threat to human security. There will be different speakers who are going to highlight different aspects of how it is a threat to the human security and overall to the national security. Because I just give you a few of the examples for a layman. Like when we talk about politics, so in politics, if you see different elections, there is a use of a technology to change and divert the opinion of the nation. And in the similar manner, in the foreign policy, if you see, so sometimes the national narrative or the international image of any country is affected through deep fake news, through different kind of hybrid warfare, different kind of agendas. Then if we talk about the governance and functioning of any government organization, these cyber security threats are something which affect the normal functioning of the government. And finally, I think in FATF, as a Pakistani, I realized that this hybrid warfare in our neighbor India tried to run through, different kind of blaming exercises and using media and international support of different organizations to try to sideline Pakistan. So I believe that Pakistani youth can play a very important role. They are the digital army of Pakistan. So if they present the positive image of Pakistan, and not at the national level but international level, firstly, it improves the national cohesion. And secondly, it will help to build the right image of Pakistan, that we are a welfare state. We are also we are having a very strong army. We love our army, but we are a welfare state, and we are always looking for the humanity. We are always looking for all human security aspects as well. So I believe that today's topic is something very important. And I'm looking forward to know your recommendations, your ideas. And Center of Pakistan and International Relations is planning to publish our comprehensive report of recommendation. And maybe we will contact one of you again as well, that how we should move ahead with this subject. So in niche technologies, we are looking forward that how deep learning, how artificial intelligence, blockchain, big data, data science, cyber security, how they are playing its role in one way or another, and how we need to compete with other countries, and how we need to make it our weapon in our favor, and how to build a very strong image of Pakistan. I would like to welcome Ammar Jaffri sir. He is the person who always supported us. Their Center of Artificial Intelligence and our Center of Artificial Intelligence is working on various kind of initiative, that how we should empower the youth, how we empower the youth on different subjects, and how we should work together to develop a strong image of Pakistan. So Pakistan Zindabad, I greet all of you for this wonderful session. Over to you, Rabia.
Thank you, Ms. Amna. Now I would like to invite Mr. Ammar Jaffri for the opening remarks. He is the CEO of AI Center Pakistan and the founder of Digital Pakistan.
Thank you, Amna, Malik. Thank you, Rabia. Firstly, I will tell all of you why we are here. And since long we are on this journey. We started our journey from 17th of March from Karachi. Then we went to Gwadar, and for the last 2 days we are in Malang Jabba. The focus of today's talk is AI. Since 9 a.m. this morning, we are having this 5th session now. This will continue till 9 p.m. in the night. This is a wonderful gathering here. Lot of students, lot of government people, lot of people from different organizations are here. There are approximately 175 people are here right now. So we are having an amazing conference here. So the very convening of this conference, in this international conference, which was Silk Road. Silk Road is CPAC, which is part of BRI. And I'm very sure that this is going to change the destiny of Pakistan. We may have done certain mistakes in the past, but ladies and gentlemen, now the time has come to promote emerging technologies, to promote blockchain, AI, very importantly, Industry Revolution 4.0, and AI and IoT and blockchain are going to play the role of the block building. So we need to focus on it. And me and Amna Malik are together for a number of causes. Amna Malik is doing a wonderful job for Pakistan, especially for women empowerment. That's why I always call her E-Woman of Pakistan. We all are together. Dr. Ali is with us. There's so many people in this window. They are all together. And I am very positive that only being together will solve half our problems. Let me repeat again. Only being together can solve half our problems. I thank you, Rabia, for giving me the time. I'm available for any question at the end of the session. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sir Ammar. Now I would like to invite my first speaker, Dr. Huma Chaudhary. She is from Australia and she is CEO of Field.ai. Okay. Ma'am, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Excellent. So I will quickly jump into this very important topic, AI for intelligence. And my name is Dr. Huma Chaudhary. I am currently stationed in Melbourne, and I have a startup here called Field.ai, which is a research and development consultancy. And yeah, I'm working on ethical machines. That is what my motivation is for this. So now, just giving you a brief 2 cent, just making the dialogue start maybe. For AI, we all know that artificial intelligence needs intelligence, which is what we provided. And sometimes it's something that we don't provide it, but others provide it. Big data, Facebook, you can see Facebook, Twitter. The people on the Facebook or social media, they know things more than maybe our news channels know. And they can be true or false, but that is how data or information has started traveling these days. Now, of course, false information is of no importance, and that is not information. But in order to understand what is happening in a certain area, or how are the people understanding or responding to some false news, it is important. It is an important part of intelligence. When, for example, CIA or other such intelligence organizations, they gather intelligence, they pay attention to even the false news, because that is, after all, intelligence. And so based on that rhetoric, I will continue some of the things, like how is AI creating intelligence. So at the intelligence community's open source enterprise, which was open source, it was a website for CIA.gov that currently is not available, but maybe we can see where that website is directed to right now. So on that website, we could see that AI is performing a role that used to belong to human readers and translators at CIA's open source center. Combining through the articles from around the world to monitor trends, geopolitical developments, and potential crises in real time. So at first, people were reading articles, looking at news, and following up on each other. But now, who does all of that work? Or most of the work, if I don't say all of the work, that is artificial intelligence. So AI can find why has AI replaced this? Or those people who were reporting based on news, because now artificial intelligence has big data available, and due to that, we can find vulnerabilities in the system that is used to access intelligence. And if there is a vulnerability in the system from which you get intelligence, that means the system itself is compromised due to bias or some other thing, but AI can ensure that your system is as you intended it to be. So AI is to better understand and see patterns in the vast amount of signals, intelligence, and the data it collects, and screening for anomalies in web traffic. So it also knows if there is something that unusual that has happened in the web traffic of a system, then artificial intelligence can tell much faster than a human could and point out about an attack or attack to be. For example, on power grid and so on. And that is something very crucial for understanding how intelligence gathering at a speed at which AI can do is of much more value than what we humans could do before. And besides, AI is used to ease analyst burden. It's not used to ease the analyst burden, because analysts they were just enjoying their work. But what happened was AI has the mass amount of information on the internet has resulted in us depending on AI systems so that they can help us to provide very speedy machine translations. Now, all of you must have noticed that Google could not translate when we wrote Urdu in English. So, but now we see that even that English that we write using even the Urdu that we write using English alphabets, even that is very well translated. So that is how the artificial intelligence is gathering intelligence even at our local level, or even our, we can say village level. Besides that, speech recognition. So it knows who is speaking and where they're speaking. It has the intelligence at a level that maybe, for example, the 007 coming to Hollywood. So maybe he knew that I have to get information from top people. But now AI is in our homes and they can do sniffing our voices, and also at every local level, at every human's home, there is a risk of gathering information and intelligence. So the intelligence is going from our drawing room debates up to the world leaders. So that is how AI allows analysts to parse through different types of data and quickly make a firmer conclusion, because you know that it is not jeopardized as it could be through a human element. And we know that AI is intelligent because from basic examples that it has been beating humans at complex games. It's getting even more smarter because our algorithms are smarter, and also, for example, identifying faces without any issue. So the only challenge in this scenario for intelligence agencies depending on AI is how do you secure the model which is predicting this intelligence for you? That is my 2 minute. I hope, was it 2? I hope it was 2. So yeah, that's just the start of this conversation, I think, and I would love to learn more from as we discuss further.
Thank you so much, Dr. Huma from Australia. Now I would like to invite my next speaker, Mr. Umar Fayaz, Assistant Program Manager at PITB, and he is CEO of School of Artificial Intelligence and Emerging Technology.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for inviting in this Digital Pakistan webinar. And I'm really glad to be over here with the platform of this Summit 2021. My name is Muhammad Umar, and I'm the Assistant Program Manager in Punjab Information Technology Board. I'm working with Plan 9. So basically, today, we will be covering most of the areas of AI, artificial intelligence, and especially we will be looking in fourth industrial revolution. Because as we see that global world, time is being changing day by day, the technology is being changing day by day, everything is being adopted by day. So first we will see how the technology is being changed, then we will be showing that how the technology is being adopted. So there are two things, एक change in technology, एक आएगी adoption of technology. From the various time, from the history को अगर हम उठा के देखें तो टेक्नोलॉजी के अंदर चेंज वक्त के साथ साथ आता जा रहा है. जिस तरह वक्त गुजरता जा रहा है, जिस तरह सदियां बदलती जा रही हैं, जिस तरह जरूरियात जिंदगी बढ़ती जा रही है, टेक्नोलॉजी के अंदर चेंज आता जा रहा है. टू अडॉप्ट दैट टेक्नोलॉजी, ये चीज हमारे यहाँ पे एशिया कल्चर में बहुत कम और बहुत आहिस्ता से ग्रो करी है. क्यों? लैक ऑफ अपॉर्चुनिटीज, लैक ऑफ इंटरेस्ट एंड एडॉप्शन ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी के वो एरियाज को वो नहीं फोकस कर पा रहे. बात करते हैं एआई की, आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस की. अगर हम नेबर कंट्रीज की करें, दे हैव अडॉप्ट दैट टेक्नोलॉजीज एंड दे हैव मूव देयर इंडस्ट्री टू एआई, आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस. एक पूरी गाड़ी शोरूम से फ्रॉम द स्क्रैच से लेके पूरी द एंड प्रोडक्ट से बन के विदाउट अ ह्यूमन बॉडी, विदाउट अ ह्यूमन बन के वो बाहर आए थे. किस वजह से कि सारी एआई वर्क हो रही है, सारी आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस रोबोट्स काम कर रहे हैं और एक गाड़ी ऑटोमेटेड तरीके से बन के बाहर आ जाती है, ट्रैवल कार्स. सो our neighbor countries is being these technologies. They are just focusing the AI and different embedded technologies in their industry, और वो अपनी इंडस्ट्री को ग्रो भी कर रहे हैं. लेकिन यहाँ पे as comparatively to Asia culture, पाकिस्तानी culture, यहाँ पे the adoption of technology थोड़ी सी slow है. You can say that by forcefully they adopt that technology. If we talk about 1 year ago, जब totally lockdown था, the Pakistani culture has adopted one of the latest technology. They can work from their home, they can operate their whole business from their home. So by the force, because they don't have any other option, they adopt that technology. As comparatively AI is coming in e-commerce, like they are shopping digitalized, everything is becoming a digitalized, और हर हमारी जो shopping है वो भी digitalized. So the importance of to adopt that technology is very important. और हमारे यहाँ पे एक अजीब ट्रेंड इस चीज का माना जाता है कि जब तक उस चीज में कुछ फ्लेवर नहीं मिलता, we don't bother to adopt that technology. हम अगर बात करें यहाँ पे एजुकेशन सिस्टम की, हम कहते हैं कि हमारे एजुकेशन सिस्टम ने हमें opportunities provide नहीं की, they do not taught how to be adopt fourth industrial revolution. तो ये totally blaming game होगी कि that हम education पे blame करें, किसी पे blame करें. क्यों? We have resources, but unfortunately we don't want to adopt that resources. One, awareness की कमी बहुत ज़्यादा है. awareness की कमी इतनी ज़्यादा है कि हम अगर अपने fourth सेमेस्टर के किसी भी एबीसी यूनिवर्सिटी के बच्चे को उठा के सिर्फ ये पूछते हैं कि भाई एआई के अंदर क्या होता है या एआई क्या होती है, तो दे आर टोटली ब्लैंक. व्हाई? एक एरिया ऑफ इंटरेस्ट नहीं उनका डेवलप हो पाता. ये एक चीज है जो हमें इस वेबिनार से, इस समिट से हमें अपनी पाकिस्तान, अपनी यूथ, हमारे जहाँ जहाँ पे लोग हैं उनमें डालनी चाहिए कि एआई, आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस एंड इमर्जिंग टेक्नोलॉजीज, फोर्थ इंडस्ट्रियल रेवोल्यूशन किस तरह से हमारे पाकिस्तान पे, हमारे मुल्क पे असरअंदाज हो रहा है और किस तरह से हम इसको जो है वो लेके. सो टू अवेयर हाउ टू अडॉप्ट दैट टेक्नोलॉजी इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. दूसरा फेज जो कि अभी मैंने कमेंट्स में ही पढ़ा था कि हाउ कैन आई स्टार्ट माय वर्क इन द 4.0 इंडस्ट्रियल रेवोल्यूशन, या कि किस तरह से मैं एआई को अडॉप्ट कर सकता हूँ, किस तरह से मैं एआई को लेके चल सकता हूँ. वन थिंग, अल्लाह हैज ब्लेस्ड ह्यूमन बीइंग्स अ ब्रेन. अगर उस दिमाग से वो सोच रहे हैं, उस सोच से कुछ वो फैसला कर रहे हैं, दैट इज टोटली इंटेलिजेंस, ह्यूमन इंटेलिजेंस. कि वो इंसान कि अल्लाह ने हर एक को इंसान को कुव्वत मुदाखलत दी है, वो सोच रहा है, समझ रहा है, दैट इज ह्यूमन इंटेलिजेंस। अगर वही इंटेलिजेंस हम किसी सिस्टम में डाल रहे हैं, हम किसी मशीन में डाल रहे हैं, हम किसी रिपोर्ट में डाल रहे हैं, दैट इज आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस। अब इस चीज को मद्देनजर रखते हुए आप कोई भी प्लेटफॉर्म पिक कर लो, कोई भी एरिया ऑफ स्पेसिफिकेशन पिक कर लो, यू कैन अडॉप्ट दैट आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस इन दैट पर्टिकुलर एरिया. That this is the thing we have to adopt. Let's take an example of हमारे जो e-commerce है, हमारी जो ऑनलाइन शॉपिंग है, अगर हम इस एरिया को सिर्फ पकड़ते हैं और इसके अंदर हम एक ये प्रोडक्ट अपनी आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस को अडॉप्ट करवाते हैं, so we have a versatile of pool. हमारे पास लाइक कस्टमर्स की रेंज है बहुत ज्यादा, बट अनफॉर्चुनेटली वी आर नॉट अडॉप्टिंग दैट थिंग. व्हाई? एक लैक ऑफ अवेयरनेस और दूसरा लैक ऑफ एरिया ऑफ इंटरेस्ट, कि हमारा इंटरेस्ट उसमें नहीं है, हाउ वी कैन गो इन दिस पर्टिकुलर फील्ड. अब एरिया ऑफ इंटरेस्ट को डेवलप करने का हमारे इस कल्चर में, पाकिस्तानी कल्चर में क्या वे है? बिकॉज एज पर एज हम अपने कंट्री की बात करें और नेबर कंट्रीज की बात करें, neighbor countries में they are earning billions, millions in this particular thing. In fourth industrial revolution, in artificial intelligence के अंदर machine learning के अंदर Python के अंदर automation, a bulk of chain is over there by educating their children, by making their whole industry educated, और उस education को फिर जब practice करते हैं they are earning a lot of things. So artificial intelligence and emerging technologies is being introduced in the world a couple of years ago, but adoption in Pakistan is very slow. So we have to adopt this technology ताकि हम अपने और आने वाले वक्त को कीमती बना सकें और अपनी जनरेशन को जो है वो इस चीज पे ला सके. बिकॉज आने वाले वक्त में in coming 5 or 10 years might be it's possible that many of the industry is being shifted in AI. That means human will replace with the another machines. So we have to adopt this technology. We have to change the technology. We have to change in our technologies. उन कौमों का हाल उठा के आप देख लें जिन्होंने अपने आप को वक्त के साथ नहीं बदला, आज वो कौमें कहाँ हैं. उन लोगों का हाल उठा के देख लें जिन्होंने अपने आप को वक्त के साथ नहीं बदला, आज वो लोग कहाँ हैं. So to adopt this technology is very important. अब दूसरा सवाल एक ये पैदा होता है कि that how we can adopt this technology and how we can make ourselves best in this. You have versatile of platforms जो कि हमारे पाकिस्तान में free of cost या minimum charges के साथ जो है चल भी रहे हैं, प्रोफेशनल प्रैक्टिस करवा भी रहे हैं और इस सब चीजों को लेके चल भी रहे हैं. तो हर किसी भी चीज में no one is perfect in this any of the area of field. अगर कहते हैं कि यार AI में कोई परफेक्ट है तो कोई ऐसा नहीं है, ठीक है. स्टार्ट लर्निंग इट. हम एक दिन में तुम 100 के obviously gradually things increase. It will take time to grow yourself. So at least start from 0 to 1. जब आप 0 से 1 पे जाओगे तो obviously आपको एक flavor मिलेगा. When you will get flavor on this, you will be interested in this technology. When you will be interested in this technology, one day you will be earning this thing. इन पाकिस्तानी कल्चर हमारे जो है वो सिर्फ अर्न पे फोकस होता है कि कमाया कैसे जाए, बट अनफॉर्चुनेटली एक स्टेटमेंट है फर्स्ट लर्न देन अर्न. पहले सीखोगे फिर कमाओगे. सो वी हैव टू फर्स्ट लर्न दिस थिंग. फोर्थ इंडस्ट्रियल रेवोल्यूशन जिसके अंदर वैरायटीज ऑफ थिंग्स है, जहां पे हमारा इंटरेस्ट आता है उसको सिर्फ सीखना शुरू करो. सीखने के लिए कुछ भी नहीं है, कोई सिखा नहीं रहा आपको, कोई इंस्टीट्यूट नहीं है, सब दरवाजे बंद हो गए. गूगल पे जाएं, यूट्यूब खोलें, how to learn artificial intelligence, they start learning it. Once you will learn it, you will know an idea that how you can execute these technologies, because Allah has blessed and every human being a very intelligent mind. When जब हम उसको start करना शुरू करेंगे तो definitely we will be going in that particular field. अब projects की ज़्यादातर बात आती है कि that if someone ABC person, okay, so perfectly fine. So this was the end of my talk. And I wish every जो हमारा एक मकसद था अवेयरनेस का कि आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस का, वो हमारे मुल्क तक पहुंच जाए, हमारे मुल्क के हर बंदे, हर बच्चे, हर जवान और हर इंडस्ट्री के बंदे तक पहुंच जाए, ताकि हमारा मुल्क इस टेक्नोलॉजी को अडॉप्ट करके और दूसरे मुल्क से जो है वो आगे निकल सके. अल्लाह मे ब्लेस यू, अल्लाह मे ब्लेस पाकिस्तान. थैंक यू.
Thank you, Mr. Umar Firaz. Now I would like to invite my next speaker, Mr. Jawad Paracha, Global Program Manager at IBM, and he also working very efficiently on emerging technologies. Mr. Mohammad Jawad, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay, Ji. So thank you very much for inviting me. Always an honor to participate in such events. And just a brief introduction about me. My name is Jawad Pracha. I'm a Global Program Manager at IBM. I work for almost 100 countries. And I am also inventor of few technologies around AI, blockchain, IoT, cybersecurity. So I have multiple patents under my belt and a lot of publications, research publications as well. So regarding today's topic, I would like to share a few of my thoughts. And in my observation, few things from the technological perspective. One is obviously this technological boom, the fourth revolution is spreading like a wildfire, and it's taking down every corporate that we have around the world. So it's affecting everybody now. You cannot say that some companies may benefit from it or some companies cannot benefit from it. It's just not the debate now. It's either you get on board with the new technologies or either you get out of the business due to technological disruption. So we don't have much choices around if we adopt technology or not. That's not a debate anymore. The debate is how soon can we adopt to the technologies. So over the period of last 1 year especially, and I won't go into details about the COVID disruption that has happened, but from what I've seen globally is that the transformation that happened just last year, it wouldn't have been possible in next 10 to 15 years. Why? Because people realize that only through technology they can move forward in the period of pandemics, in the period of global catastrophe. And that's why people learn to go remote. People learn to do education remotely, work from home, things like that. I mean, at IBM, I've been working home office since last at least 8 years. So home office was nothing new for me, even last year or so. But for many of the people around me, work from home was a new concept altogether. And I'm glad to say that many of the people have now adopted work from home completely as we move forward. So my point here is that either we will be forced to adopt technologies or either we will have to adopt technologies, or right now there is a choice on what to adopt. So I would say, I mean, if you are given the choice, then you have to adopt technologies. Now the question becomes what sort of technologies to adopt. I mean, there is a lot of debate on what sort of technologies that we should adopt. There are a lot of practices, there is a lot of movement around it, there's a lot of discussion around it. But to me, if we even start at a basic level, even just adopt few things like just learning about the IoT, just learning about the AI, and see how it can be implemented in your life today. So just giving you my example. So I'm a athlete as well. I run and cycle and swim. And one of the way that I use AI in my life is that my smartwatch is coupled with a software that gives me analysis of how fit I am. So if I'm running 10 kilometers on a particular day, it will analyze how much effort did I put in, how much effort should I have put in, what was my heart rate, what was my oxygen level, VO2 max, things like that. So So just giving you example on how I can improve my health using AI. There are multiple things that you could do with AI in your life today, and that's where one should start. Secondly, about the niche technologies and the threat around it. So obviously, with the technology comes a debate around how secure we should be. So when this whole IoT discussion started a few years back, and I went to MIT to attend a course on IoT, I realized the fact that this threat to human security will be a ever evolving debate, and it has been a ever evolving debate because now the personal information, the PI, the SPI that we talk about, these information are at a point where it is public to a certain extent. So the only way we can be protective or protect ourselves is obviously to keep ourselves up to date, whether it's being up to date on our skills, because if you learn, then you would adopt the certain practices, the best practices out there on the security side, or to update your devices, your IoT sensors, your smartwatches, your cell phone software. So one has to keep them up to date with the latest security patches, so they can prevent any sort of attacks that come in. The other practice one should adopt is, instead of having these sensors out there wirelessly connected to your network, we should adopt a best practice about having a wired connection to your gateway, so that those gateways, because they are a powerful device, can obviously help you in protecting your sensors, because they are then wired to your end devices or end users or things like that. So this debate about human security, this is a debate that continued since last many years, and it will continue till many more years to come. And in fact, it will evolve into different phases. Now we are talking about quantum computing. We are talking about other several new things coming up that can break the security ecosystem that we had yesterday. So these discussions about new security patches, new security platforms, new security ecosystem is ever evolving. It will evolve even further, but as I said, one has to remain up to date to understand what sort of technological advancement are happening, and that one can adopt to those accordingly. The third aspect of today's topic, niche technology threats to human security, is to adopt those technologies that come to you through rigorous testing, that come to you from these companies that are compliant. So one should try to purchase any off-the-shelf devices from these companies that are certified, that have credibility of being a protective device from any threats, so that you can get best out of it, and those can remain up to date. Because if these are coming from a big company, then obviously that company is liable to provide you patches, to provide you software updates, and then you can get the best practices out of those patches and those software updates to your devices. So these were the three basic things that one should do. As I said, human security or any IT security topic, this is something that will keep on evolving. It is up to us on how we prevent from these attacks. Any questions for me?
So we will take questions in the last. Thank you so much, sir, for your talk. Now I would like to invite my next speaker, Ms. Shabana Fayaz. She is PhD in AI and working in Quaid-e-Azam University, Pakistan. Ms. Shabana, can you hear me?
Can you hear me, please?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Very interesting discussion is underway. Although I have missed half of the first presentation, but I'm really impressed the number of panelists who are.
Ma'am, आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही. Now it's clear.
जी Rabia.
जी आप clear है. आप continue रखें.
The theme I would like to put in my point of view is upon the intelligence warfare and AI. Basically, there is not much written data on how the intelligence warfare is being shaped and conducted by AI advancement through the security realm. But it is scattered around. One can go through and make a sense of what is happening and how it is shaping and going to shape the security dynamics of interaction between the states or even within the states today and in future. To begin with, as has been pointed out by many panelists, one must remember that AI is transforming the face of the warfare. And it is no longer a traditional warfare, but at the same time, it has become high-tech warfare. Does it imply that there is no longer going to be a role of foot soldiers or traditional means of warfare? I still feel that that will remain very relevant today. They need to be knowing more of the high tech, but you cannot say that they are obsolete and there is only going to be a high tech AI sort of wars happening in future. And when we talk of intelligence warfare, obviously it is one component, very key component of the warfare as such. To begin with, what is basically intelligence? In intelligence, the main purpose of intelligence in AI, using AI or any other medium of technology, is to minimize the ambiguity factor in the realm of warfare. And this is nothing new. Throughout the centuries, if you study the interstate relations or within the state relations, the commanders, the soldiers, the kings, and all philanthropists have advocated the use of intelligence as a byproduct, as a parallel stream of gathering information for one's benefit, and obviously as a mean to use this information against your perceived threats. Now, if you perceive the threats, how you are going to minimize the threat? And AI is something, especially in military realm, it is a high-tech, highly priced technology that is available to the advanced states and also to the medium-sized powers and other aspirant powers. We also need to understand that the leaders around the world, whether they are Russian leaders, the Chinese, the German, Malaysian, Iranian, all have from one time to another have in their statements or pronouncements have acknowledged the role AI is going to play or is playing in the intelligence business of the warfare. They don't admit that they have been using AI or will use AI for intelligence purpose against their perceived enemies or the competitors in the international community. So having said this, that we have to also understand that there are factors and the ways where AI can be useful or is useful. As I'm saying, human intelligence is not out of business. It will still remain a very relevant part. However, the humans equipped or supplementing their roles time to time with the other equipments like the sensors, sonars, and the radars or the robots, they will be used as the mediums of having more information versus your enemy. Now, in the other field, you have the signals. Signals are very important, and AI has penetrated that field. And most importantly, the imagery. Imagery of the other countries' sensitive installations, the movement of other countries' troops, or the vital assets or infrastructures, or even the sensitive organs or the agencies that, or this, let's say the laboratories and others who are involved into some sort of security related business. So this is the imagery is going to be very important, and it has become very important. Talking of South Asia, India-Pakistan relation, we all know, is a very bitter relationship, although it should have been better. But unfortunately, we are caught in this web of hostility over the years and years. What we see is that in case of India concluding its BICA, an agreement with the USA that deals with the sharing of intelligence, sharing of information and data, and using the high imagery AI sort of equipment against the other signposts will be used, is going to be equipped to India by the US. This is something that has Pakistan has become very critical of. Not only Pakistan, but China is also very critical, because they say basically India is using this, is going to use this means of BICA to monitor China, and that will also benefit the US in return. Well, on case of Pakistan, what is the issue is that through this imagery, high level imagery sensors and the imagery taking place through the equipment, unmanned equipment supplied to the India by US, the areas like Baltistan and the Gilgit and parts of Kashmir will also become a part and under the microscope of satellite imagery, or even high level than satellite imagery. So that is really unnerving Pakistan, and they have raised the points at different forums and even with the US that, look, doing this sort of a security collaboration, you are going to upset the Asian and specifically South Asian regional security dynamics to a great point. Important is you have to remember that AI and the intelligence warfare, it is correlated, but it is very expensive and a high-tech factor. It is not something that can be afforded by the more than 100 states that exist in the world today. So countries like Pakistan, India, and many other countries, they can still be in the race, but what will happen to the next? They will become more vulnerable. And what is, if all the time, especially even your security organizations and others, they become so skeptic of whatever they are doing is being monitored, the life becomes very difficult. And that life becomes obviously what they're going to react. They're going to turn to an traditional means of business in a more lethal way. And that can be counterproductive to AI, remote censoring, or the unmanned intelligence behavior. Having said this, I would like to point out another thing, that what is the international humanitarian law correlation with the AI and AI's correlation with the intelligence warfare? Interestingly, if you look into the IHL, it is only against that these technologies are to be used for the benefit of humankind and not against them. And giving total control to the machines is going to be disastrous. So this is a sort of language that is being used in IHL, and this is a language that is changed and reworded by most of the European countries who have adopted a lot of resolutions related to IHL and AI. Now, unfortunately, the states like USA and other big powers, including the China, they are not much in favor of signing the protocols where they are promising not to use AI in the military fields or otherwise the semi-military fields. So this is a sort of dilemma that exists, that what is the correlation between intelligence warfare and AI? we must also understand that intelligence warfare can be an obvious warfare and can be a non-obvious warfare. And this can be both in the traditional warfare methods and also the non-traditional methods. And we also have to understand as a strategic community that using AI for intelligence can be counterproductive. And anybody, obviously the people who are in this business, they understand how to use it to their benefit. But they need to be sensitized at the global level, the risks of making the other states insecure or human beings insecure using adopting AI for the lethal purposes. So this is something I would like to add here. Well, I must say that AI is something in intelligence warfare is a very, very sensitive business. It involves 3-4 types, and in fact there are more than multiple types of intelligence warfare or intelligence. For instance, it is a human warfare where you go for the human intelligence. It can be the signals, it can be the imagery, and it can be the communication links. So this is all sort of things that imagine a machine who is going to destroy the information network of the sensitive organizations, then it's going to be a disaster. And this is not something to be dreaming of. This has happened. The KGB has used it versus the US, and other many actors, the Western actors, have been used against one another and against the other third world countries. So this is sort of that even if your whole nerve center of communication of sensitive organizations or equipment installations, they become mishandled, they become, they are immobilized. So what is going to be the implications of that? For instance, if your information network or your media agencies or even the news agencies, the whole through satellite, they are off the stations, then it becomes very nervous situation for the people at large. So there are different rumors then start going that somebody has attacked. So this is a sort of a society that we as the human are living in. And we must say, as the previous speakers have identified, the role of human security. This is something very important. AI is a very added bonus, as has been pointed out, through online businesses, online transactions, online economy, even agriculture, even health, and even robotics in a positive way, or technological learning. So this is a lot you can do with that. But at the same time, if it is used for negative purposes, it can do a lot of harm to the human security at a large scale. I will stop here and will look forward to more questions and discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Shabana Fiaz. We will take questions in the last.
Okay.
I would like to invite my next speaker, Syed Talal Hussain, Principal GRC Analyst, Information Security.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. I hope my screen is visible.
Yes.
Okay, so thank you everyone. There is a great session and there is a great discussion ongoing on the field of artificial intelligence, national security, and cyber security. I just want to put another perspective here, like how the cyber security is linked with the national security and how artificial intelligence is giving the boost to both attack vectors and the defenses on the cyber security side and infrastructure security side. We have been listening to a jargon which is what we call as hybrid warfare. So we often listen this notion in the press conferences of ISPR. We are constantly hearing this from the international news media and analysts. So I just want to correlate that how hybrid warfare is linked with the cyberspace, then how artificial intelligence is giving in inputs to make the hackers and attackers become more and more efficient. So if we if we broadly see that what are the characteristics of hybrid warfare, so what is number one? There are decentralized launch pads. So launch pads doesn't essentially mean that you have physical launch pads from where you initiate your weapons. These can be the social media sleeper cells. These can be some propaganda machines installed on different sections of different networks. These can be the group of people that are instigating propaganda on the human basis. Then we have another element is the surprise. As the surprise element is the most dangerous element in any of the warfare, especially in the network warfare or in the hybrid warfare, a warfare that is taking place on the social media, that is taking place on the human minds. The surprise element is very much dangerous, and through artificial intelligence-based technologies, it is very much achievable as well. Then we have prolonged low-intensity conflict. So because the cost of waging war is very low, so the warfare, the state actors or non-state actors can carry on their warfare for a long span of time, and it is very much destructive for changing the ideologies of the people, and this is also very much destructive for the basic social fabric of any society. Then we have the propaganda. Obviously, propaganda is the baseline of all these three factors. The propaganda can be done through the television media, through the print media, electronic media. Then we have different article writers there. So each, there are different segments in the media in this society, and within the government as well. They advocate different standpoints. So this is all linked to the propaganda war machine, right? So, but why we are talking about it? Because behind every war there is a war principle. So I just like this quote very much. The supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. So because fighting in the fifth dimension, where we are fighting with an invisible enemy that is leveraging the latest technologies like artificial intelligence and so. So by leveraging the same invisible dimension, same invisible plethora of technologies, the state or non-state actors have become very much capable in subdue the enemy without even showing up in front of them. I just want to especially highlight that how kill chain works. Basically, kill chain is a model through which we explain that how a hacker actually exploits its target. So there are certain steps through which hacker passes through, and then it exploits its targets. Now, if you see 1, 2, 3, 4, there are 4 steps in which the hacker actually creeps into the systems of its target and eventually destroys the system. So the worrisome fact is that these all 4 steps are automated now and are managed through the artificial intelligence-based system. I just want to put one example, that is the latest example. This is the APT-41, that is Dual Dragon. So APT is the Advanced Persistent Threat, and this is, by the way, has borrowed from the FireEye report. So advanced persistent threats are nation-state actors, basically, or such actors that have gathered strong expertise and strong resources to exploit different other systems. So Dual Dragon, if you see, it is active from 2012 and still working in 2019, and the attacks are going on. So you can see this APT has affected gaming industry, healthcare industry, automotive industry, travel industry, high tech and finance industry. So these are all highly valuable targets. But the point of showing this landscape is that how APT actually managed to infiltrate into so many categories of the business. This APT-41 actually controls over 46 different malware families simultaneously, along with the other tools. And it gradually exploits, and it keeps creeping into the one system and goes to another system. This is the supply chain attack, and it uses all the 46 malware families that have actually yet discovered. There would be much more families that are going undiscovered right at this moment. And it also uses 150 pieces of malware, 150 pieces of different other software that they combine to use to gain the exploitation. So point is that managing 46 different families of malware or 150 unique tools to accomplish single task or target is not one human capability. This is actually managed by the artificial intelligence command and control systems, through which systems are automatically scanned, phishing campaigns are scanned, phishing campaigns are automated, the command and control and all networks are linked together, and more major part of the phishing campaigns or hacking campaigns have actually automated and managed through the artificial intelligence based decision making. So this is how hackers are good at automating this stuff, their own operations through the means of artificial intelligence. And then I've been highlighting this issue since the inception of this year, and we have seen a lot of rise in the deepfake technology, which is the application of artificial intelligence on imagery and put fake face, put some talk on a face that is actually not talking that, right? So you can go to YouTube and see how deepfake is actually effective. And till now, it has not been used for any destructive purpose, but there is a high chance, or there is a high threat, and there would be a high impact if a deep fake of some political leader emerges or some military leader emerges. We can crash a stock market eventually very easily through deep fake. We can even wage a war on one country from the other country through deep fake. Just putting a video on any Twitter or on Facebook announcing that we are waging war from United States to the North Korea, right? And then what would happen? Because the response time, then when the war is, or the indicators of war are escalated, then it goes to the response time. So when response times are triggered, you are going into the actual war. So this is how the threat lies, and most of the people are not aware of the deepfakes yet. So I think it would be more common in next 5 years, but the threat is still there, and we have no active defenses against these type of threats. And then I've been highlighting this as well, the GPT-2 type technologies, the algorithm that actually creates the content, and BBC has actually tested this content. Like you can train this algorithm to write in a certain way or in a certain expression. It copies someone else's expression and start writing different theories and different content on its own. So this is how the cost of waging war has been decreased dramatically. You don't need to put 100 or 1,000 people in one roof and make them write different categories or different paragraphs. Rather than you just hire an algorithm, train it to write in a certain way, and give this algorithm the objectives, and it will start creating content 24/7, 365. So this is how the artificial intelligence has brought ease in the propaganda warfare as well. So to counter it, definitely we need other AI-based capabilities. But right now the threat is asymmetric. So we don't have exact symmetric response to such kind of threats that are posed by deepfakes or GPT-type technologies. Then the system destruction theory. Basically, China is working on the system destruction theory. So because US Army had a concept that was called networked warfare. So China came up with the concept that with the system destruction theory and autonomous warfare system. So through system destruction, you actually destruct the system that is managing the whole command and control post, sensor loop and shooter loop. This is one example of that system destruction of theory. Like if you attack the algorithm, you can take down the artificial intelligence based system. So either you corrupt the algorithm and you gain the decisions based on your own choice, or then there is another type of attack that is called image processing alteration, through which you can hack the systems that are based on the image processing. This has been successfully demonstrated back in 2018 as well. And if you gather all the errors that are attributed to the image processing, then you can see that these errors are actually the indication of the vulnerabilities exist in such kind of systems. So if you attack the system, if you take down the algorithm, or if you make that algorithm corrupt, you can eventually get your favorable result. And this is very easy since the systems, most of the artificial intelligence based systems are public facing, or some of the nodes are on the public or accessible to any other organization or a limited set of organizations. So you can actually creep into those systems and start doing the stuff. So again, this is the threat is asymmetric. You don't have exact counter controls on that.
And to say time खत्म होने वाला है तो और भी करें तो conclude.
Okay, so last thing is I wanted to say that the height of strategy is to attack your opponent's strategy. So this is what hackers are doing, and this is what we need to do as well as security practitioners. So we need to look into the AI-based solutions, and we have a particular industry use case here as well. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, sir. Now I would like to invite my next speaker, Mr. Adnan Zaidi. He's PhD in Deep Learning and CIO Proxima and building data science and AI communities in Pakistan.
Thank you, Rabia. I think you can hear me properly. Can I start now?
Sir, you can start.
Okay. It's really a good forum, and the people are discussing the major relevant topic of AI on the warfare. And I would like to start my presentation and have around 3 to 5 minutes. The role of AI in intelligence warfare. You already introduced me, and I don't think there is no need to go into more details. So the Hollywood itself imaging the true picture and some imaginary pictures of artificial intelligence to our society by different images. And the central idea, the central theme of AI, it does not exist a vacuum. It's really open now, and everybody can understand what AI can do and what AI cannot do in the field of military. The strategic advantage of AI-infused weapons really improve the resistible states, gain the technological changes. For example, the military technologies, there is a wide range of military weapons and their existing systems. They are already using them, and the next step is they are just plugging into the more artificial component with all of these systems. So let's classify some of the systems being used in artificial intelligence in the military that are controlled one and supervised, automated, and autonomous. So just a basic definition that controlled it requires a man in the loop. So the human is responsible for controlling the equipment or the technology. And in the same supervised is some sort of automated, but still there is a man which can operate the system, which can manage the functions throughout the system. And once we move onward, like automated technologies and autonomous technologies, the next automated again, it has some basic controls to make their own decisions and their own controls. It could be a human operative for activation. Somehow it requires semi-automated structuring for getting the fire on target and the target forget the system, so that human can interpret in the automated one. But the last one is autonomous. That's obviously not requires humans. Okay, and that's the real threat, or that's the real difficulty in the world of artificial intelligence, which can start through the reinforcement learning and more deep learning based their own decisions. And that obviously requires more precision, more accuracy, and more critical for the human life as well. So in the battlefield, if we talk about battlefield, it's the major area is reconnaissance, where the explorations of the battlefield and want to know the geographically where the information of the enemy forces is there and their structure is the collections of location data by means of unmanned air vehicles, some drones like radars, sonars, and the space satellites. That's the focused area currently in the artificial intelligence. Similarly, the military robots, they are playing the constantly important warfare, and they are creating more difficulty to being managed with well organized, and to require more ethical AI ethical opportunities, and to build more laws and legal values, like the vehicles and the demanding robots, and the robots capable for sustaining the soldiers like Warrior 700 and many others. Even it includes micro organism, and obviously the nanotechnology will place there. Future armed projects like the huge and bulk projects, Godrod's metal storms, and some electromagnetic guns from the spaces. They are also all or futuristic projects, and they probably have the more warfare, and they could be more dangerous for the human. Once we are talking about AI and the world, society, the humans, we have the multiple domains. Like it could be a time domain, and it could be a spatial domain. So it could become more critical in the form of multi-domain battles. Like we have physical world, virtual.
Sorry to interrupt you, sir. Our next moderator is waiting. Please conclude your talk in 2 minutes.
So there could be a lot of multi-domains, social, personal, and informational network. And I would like to highlight multi-domain battle techniques. And again, mega trend is unmanned technologies are more towards the risk management in the military and others. Similarly, the UAVs. So we can conclude here, like artificial intelligence could be powerful, and it could be used misused, that through some terrorism and different elements. But before making it stronger through some laws and more protection towards before moving towards the dangerous and malicious purposes. And thank you, Rabia, and thank you for the panel for creating such a great opportunity.
Thank you so much, Sir Adnan. Thank you so much to thank you to all my panelists. Now this session is over.